January 30th, 1637. A freezing riverbank. The king of Joseon steps off his horse, strips off his royal robes, and kneels on the ice. 3 bows. 9 times his forehead hits the frozen ground. By the 3rd round, his skin splits open. Blood drips onto the ice. Above him, on a golden platform draped in silk, the Manchu emperor watches, smiling. This is the Samjeondo Humiliation, the ceremony that broke a 245-year-old kingdom. But here's what no one tells you. This moment? It was completely avoidable. One man's stupidity made it inevitable. So who is this guy on the ice? His name is Injo. Never supposed to be king. He stole the throne. In 1623, power-hungry nobles decided they'd had enough of King Gwanghaegun, who was actually smart, playing both sides between Myeongchina and the rising Manchu. The nobles didn't care. They made up an excuse, rallied 1,400 soldiers, and marched on the palace at night. Only 200 showed up. They still won. The military commander guarding the capital had already switched sides and opened the gates. 40 executed, 200 purged. Even Myeongchina refused to recognize this coup for over a year. Injo sat on a stolen throne and immediately tore apart every alliance Gwanghaegun had built. But Injo wasn't done making enemies. His next move would bring an actual army to Korea's doorstep. Injo's on his stolen throne when one of his own generals rebels. Injo's people framed the general's son. 12,000 soldiers march on the capital. The rebellion gets crushed, but survivors flee to the Manchus and spill every military secret Korea has. 3 years later, 30,000 Jurchen cavalry pour across the border. Injo hides on Ganghwa Island and signs a humiliating treaty. The Manchus say, "Call us your overlords." Korea's scholars scream, "We'd rather die." Injo sides with the scholars. 1636. The Manchus come back. 120,000 troops, their cavalry reaches Seoul before the warning messengers do. Injo's trapped in a frozen mountain fortress with 13,000 starving soldiers. 47 days. That's how a king ends up kneeling on ice. 500,000 Koreans were dragged away as slaves. The government rescued about 3,000. But the worst thing Injo did wasn't losing to the Manchus. It was what he did to his own family. As part of the surrender, Injo had to send a hostage. His own son, Crown Prince Joseon, volunteered. He was 25. 8 years in Shenyang, cramped quarters near the imperial palace, forced to attend the Manchu emperor, dragged to actual battlefields. But Joseon didn't break. He started farming. First harvest, 3,000 seok of grain. Next year, 5,000. He used the profits to buy back hundreds of Korean prisoners from slavery. In Beijing, he met a German Jesuit priest named Adam Schall. 70 days of Western astronomy, mathematics, theology. He brought it all home. Books, celestial globes, a vision of a different Korea. 1645. Joseon walks through the palace gates after 8 years. His father doesn't look at him. Ice-cold silence. 2 months later, the prince is dead. Body turned black. Blood from every orifice. He'd been chronically ill since 1638, but the symptoms looked like poisoning. The royal doctors said nothing. If you think this is where the story ends, you're wrong. Because what Injo did next, there was no evidence, and he did it anyway. Joseon's body wasn't even cold. The crown prince had a son, a rightful heir. Injo skipped him, put his younger brother Bongrim on the succession track instead. Someone he could control. Then he turned on the daughter-in-law, Princess Consort Kang, Joseon's widow, mother of 3 small children. Accused of poisoning the king's food. The evidence? None. Not a shred. Didn't matter. In 1646, She was stripped of her titles and forced to drink poison. Then the grandchildren. 3 boys, ages 4 to 12, shipped to Jeju Island. 2 died of tropical disease within 2 years. Only the youngest survived. And those Western books and instruments Joseon carried home, burned. Every last one. Injo didn't just destroy his son's family, he destroyed Korea's chance at a different future. 72 years later, King Sukjong declared the whole thing a wrongful persecution. Restored the titles, restored the names, but you can't restore the dead. Injo seized power he didn't earn, lost a war he didn't have to fight, and destroyed a family that could have saved his kingdom. 400 years later, the fury hasn't faded. If this story made you angry, subscribe. More terrible kings are coming.